Internet, Keith here. Welcome to the Cars and Keith YouTube channel. In this video, we're going over the DIW-20 CR Spotless system. Before, I was using a cart, and I'll show you that here in a minute. The system that I had, it worked really well, but I had to refill more often. And not just that, but it just really didn't have the flow I needed. It was at about 2.0 gallons per minute is where it really started to struggle. This does 2.5 gallons per minute, so it's definitely a little bit more. And obviously tons more capacity. This is about 4 to 5 times more resin than you'll find in the one that I previously had, which gives me 4 to 5 times more longevity. And that means I'm more than likely, I mean, it costs money, resin costs money to refill, but I'm more than likely gonna run this more often. Spotless is a term that's kind of loosely used. It's a keyword out there for you guys to click on the video. It's deionized water is the best way to say it. It is 0 ppm water, so there's no total dissolved solids, which is TDS. There are other things in water that can cause water spotting that are not a solid. Chlorine. Any of the dust in the air can get trapped in the water beads. Now, if it does dry and give you a spot, it's like an easy wipe off, right? Or even, at worst case, a quick detailer would get it right off. What you're trying to avoid is hard water spotting. Destroys paint, destroys glass, can etch in if it's really bad. That's what these systems are for. It softens the water, takes the total dissolved solids out, so that way you don't have those hard minerals that are, you know, drying on and they're etching themselves in the surface, or just creating just this water spot that's just so hard that you need basically a paint correction to fix it. Now with this kit, you do get a good bit of stuff. You have a water sprayer right here that you're gonna hook to the end of the hose. They give you a nice steel hose here that gets you water from your source to the unit. Filter wrench, that way you can go on here and then remove them. We're gonna use that here in a minute. That's because I forgot to put these in when I actually installed them the first time. So these are kind of like shims or spacers. They go in there and they keep the filter nice and tight and dead centered so it screws in and works properly. They also give you 2 adapters right here because right here, this is not a garden hose thread. You cannot put a garden hose directly in here. You need to have these adapters. This screws in on one end, the one with much more thread, and the threads are much tighter. And then the other end is for the garden hose. So you would just put that in like that, and then you'd be able to put your garden hose on either side. I have a DigiFlow meter right here that measures how many gallons. We're at about 82 gallons of usage through these filters already. It's kind of giving me an idea of how long this lasts. I think they said 300 to 400 gallons. If you have really good water, you might even be able to get more. We have a digital readout TDS meter right here that while it's flowing, you can turn it on. It'll tell you the amount of total dissolved solids that are flowing through at that moment. So when you're taking the filter off, it's going to be clockwise to undo them and then counterclockwise to put them on. All right. Like I said, it's full of water. Whoa! It's like giving birth. So you see, I didn't have these installed. These will make it way easier for this to stay centered. You see how it moves around? So let's take out one of these massive filters here. Wow. Put that in a bucket. So these are refillable, so you can buy bags of resin, or you can buy these already filled. So you would turn it upside down, unscrew that, and then your resin's right there. It's like brown sugar. Now this is mixed bed resin, so this has both types of resin mixed together. Now if these are too big, they have a DIW-10 that's smaller than this. It's about half the size, so you're getting everything here, just the amount of capacity is less, fits in smaller spots. But there's only maybe a $20 difference between that one and this one. So I think it's much more worth it to go with the bigger one if you can. We're gonna put that shim on there this time around. So you can see it just pops in the top there. It's good to have some water in there because it kind of floats. So now with the shim, it doesn't move around as much. Counterclockwise. These things can be quite heavy if they're waterlogged. When they're dry, much less. And usually a good turn, not a whole lot. Once you get a hand tight, You're only moving it a couple inches until it hits pretty much to where you can't do it anymore. And now it's in there. So this right here is my previous unit. As you see, it's more see-through. There's actually color change resin in here, so it starts turning brown. You know it's bad. But it's basically the same concept. You have your top right here, you have two filters connected, you have water coming in and water going out. This one right here can't get much over 2.0 gallons per minute. Sometimes my pressure washer, when I tried it, struggled a little bit. We're not quite ready in here to spray around because we still have insulation stacked up. We haven't done the drain of the floor yet. All right, so we have the mains of the house off. We will run water here, run water here. That way it goes up this way. Then we turn it on to the unit. It's going through the VE52 jumper hose down to this hose. Now we can purge some of the air out of the line. We've purged everything out. You can see we are at 0 ppm water. We have the Frankenfoamer 9000 right here. If you don't know about this, I just made a video about it. I'll include it at the end of the chapters. So this is on auto mix. So this is basically pure soap in here. There's no water inside of here. So this is the best way to tell the difference and how well this works, because a lot of people put deionized water in their dilution because it should help. Deionized water with no minerals in it allows the soap or chemicals or whatever you're using to dissolve in the water a lot better, mix better. So this right now is just straight from the tap. We are not going through the deionized system. And that is using an active VE52 pressure washer that is W4 citrus foam from G-Technic, and it's a 1.25 orifice in here. Let's see the difference. Now, I'm not going to say that I have some measuring stick for comparing foam side by side, but I will say I do think that went on a little bit thicker. So this right here is mainly why I got this set up. So I could run the pressure washer rinse just after my foaming with deionized water. As you see, it's going to rinse the same. I'm getting that full 2.0 GPM out of my 4.0 nozzle right here, maybe 1.95, 1.99, something like that. Now this is something that you'll get with a lot of pressure washers. This is a black detergent tip. You can find them all over Amazon, pretty easy to find, but I use this. This gives me a lot of water. And I just use the same hose and I just turn the pressure washer off and I just spray straight water. It does two things for me. It allows me to really drench cracks and crevices to get any remaining water out, any remaining soap out, and having the deionized water in there. Also, the second thing is the beads are a lot different with this kind of spray pattern. Usually when you use a pressure washer, you get a lot of tight little beads. This actually allows you to more or less dry as you're rinsing the car, because with the more accumulated water, more water is going to come off, less water is going to stay beaded and misted on the surface, especially on the roof, on the hood, on the windows. See, more of it flows off versus that mist. Alright, so we have a regular hose here. It's hooked up to the spigot, deionized water flowing through it. There's only two settings on this right here that they say keeps it at 2.5 gallons, which is flat and center. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not a huge fan. It works pretty good. A lot of mist, as you can see, a lot of wasted water. Now let's try center. It's got a pretty good little hit to it if you're saying using this and you're not using a pressure washer at all to wash a car. This is pretty good for your rinse process. Your final rinse, I'm not hitting it. See all of this spritzing, misting that's getting beads all over the roof, real small beads. Now the one I would prefer on this, but I'm pretty sure it does more than 2.5 gallons per minute, is this one right here. Point it down. The amount of flow coming out of it is crazy. You can see it's struggling now. The filters are struggling, so this is definitely beyond the limit. I'm going to check real quick to make sure that that is 0 ppm while I'm running this. Actually, even on shower, it maintains 0 ppm, but it just can't keep up with the amount of water that's coming out of the hose. It just can't keep enough going through the filter to allow a nice constant stream. Now really, you can use any setting you want. You just have to make sure that the pressure going into the unit is 2.5 gallons per minute. So if you could dial back your spigot and change the flow and not put so much pressure through there, you could probably run any of these, have a nice decent flow, and you won't have any problems. So now I have adjusted my spigot to be closer to 2.5 GPM. I have the digiflow so I can actually see the gallons per minute that's running through the unit. It really helps me out. You see it's not as powerful, but it's a much steadier stream. You see we don't have any air pockets, so we are running where we can run. For the minute I run water, it will turn on. This is a really hard lighting to read, but you can see it right there. We're running 2.44 gallons per minute because we have that spigot at about half. All right, we have rinsed off the car. We're gonna get in the garage now so that way we don't have, you know, anything in the air contaminating this water. Could be already. The air in here could contaminate it as well. But you know, when you're out here washing, your next door neighbor decides to start the lawnmower, he does a dust cloud, the wind blows it over. If it gets in these beads, then it's going to leave a spot. Now one big thing to look at here, and one tip, is whenever you're rinsing a car off, check the beads. If there's anything in the beads, is going to leave a mark. So if you foam the car, if you wash the car, if you rinse off and there's still little bubbles in these beads, then that means you did not properly wash off the car and get all of the soap off. Now myself, I never leave the beads on the car. I always dry it off. It's just having that extra layer of you know, confidence, I would say, in the fact that, hey, if I am washing it, I'm taking longer than normal. If any of these do dry, then they're not going to mean anything. If it's a hot day or if you get interrupted, it's not going to be as harmful using this type of water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow off one side, and then we'll have the other side with the beads, and we'll be able to see the difference, right? All right, we've come back later in the night. The hood is dry. Now there are a few spots on this car, but they are hard water etched spots that I've not been able to correct out. Actually, I've not even corrected this car yet. I haven't even clayed it. It's a daily. That's how abused it gets. You can see the majority of any kind of spotting, there's no evidence of it. Now we do have a couple of really bad spots. Let me show you what a bad hard water etch looks like. I mean, look at it. It almost looks like a scratch. It is etched into that clear coat. It is going to take a good bit of correction to get that out. That's what we're trying to avoid. It's about the same. We have spots from before, but I don't see any new spots. So overall for me, this is a great product. Now, from a cost standpoint, for a budget build like this entire thing is, I had to make sacrifices in some places to get the money to be able to put this on there. This is nearly 40% of the cost of all of this. This is more than combination of this pressure washer and the hose reel and the hose and all that stuff. So, I mean, and the price has gone up. When I got it, I got lucky. I got in at $390, which is what it was for a long time. Within the last month or so, it's now $410. The one that's half this size is $390. So for a $20 difference, you're getting all of this extra resin in the package, twice the resin, and you're getting twice the capacity. Now, if you need it for a smaller form factor, that might be the better way to go. So I have links below for Amazon for anything that I've bought here. I also have my affiliate codes for all kinds of other stuff. I have my Obsessed Garage affiliate link. If you like to buy from Obsessed Garage and like to support the channel, you help us both in the same way. I have no discount code for that, but it's better than nothing, right? So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And just the water, and the difference with the TDS is this. We're gonna do both. Oh my gosh, about fell over. They give you an inlet or an outlet water supply to the, they give you a hose, they give you, oh my God. Oh, yikes. That's hurting my feet. And it will tell you the amount of total DeVos. It'll tell you the amount. So I'm not really gonna be able to, oh my gosh. Kind of gets off the rest of the surfactants. Oh my gosh. All right, so we're gonna turn the motor on. Oh, 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 oh. Ah, dumbass. That was real bright right there. Real bright. Dummy.